What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you exactly what it's like to drive the 992 GT3 from a first-person point of view. It's got a 4-liter naturally aspirated flat six that revs to 9,000 RPM. This thing absolutely screams. Produces 502 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. Now, despite weighing the same as the previous GT3 and having roughly the same amount of power, it actually laps the Nürburgring 17 seconds faster thanks to reworked aerodynamics. One of the coolest features of the 992 GT3 has to be the Swan neck rear wing. These stanchions mount onto the wing on the top instead of the bottom, allowing for more clean air to pass underneath the wing and increasing downforce. We've also got a much larger rear diffuser as well. The exhaust is all new, saves 20 pounds over the previous generation car. There is also a manually adjustable front splitter as well. All told, downforce is increased by 150% over the previous generation 991.2 GT3. I am in love with the design of this car, particularly all of the functional aerodynamic elements. We've got larger brake cooling ducts. We've also got a carbon fiber reinforced plastic hood with these radiator cooling heat extraction vents that allow for more downforce as well. Now, despite Porsche claiming the car can sprint from 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, by the way, launch control happens at 6,500 RPM. We'll definitely be doing a launch later on in the video. People have independently tested the GT3 to 60 in just 2.7 seconds. And a top speed of 199 miles an hour. On the inside of the new 992 GT3, it feels incredibly high quality. I mean, even buttons for the emergency flashers have knurled aluminum accents on it. Every ounce of this car is covered in either leather, carbon, or Alcantara. Now, if we check out the steering wheel, gorgeous Alcantara steering wheel that fits perfectly in your hands. It's actually got a drive mode select button on the wheel itself. Let's go ahead and fire up that flat six. Notice the key is on the left side of the steering wheel, like all Porsches, and it's not actually a key, it's this little key-shaped switch here that we turn to the right. The key itself is color matched, and I just placed it right here in the cup holder. Go ahead and fire it up. This engine sounds absolutely phenomenal. Now, the big talking point is, this car comes in either a manual or a PDK. Funny enough, even though this is the 7-speed PDK, it actually looks kind of like a manual transmission. To go ahead and put it in drive, foot on the brake, go ahead and push the button down and slide it into drive. You can actually push it to the left and control it almost like a semi-manual with the lever right here. I prefer using the paddles, which feel fantastic in your hands. Now, we've got an analog tachometer, which is really nice to have in a fully digitalized world. And then we have digital instrument clusters to the left and the right. If we go to drive mode right here, we can switch into sport mode, which changes the displays, gives you a little bit different information. Got some oil and coolant temperature, as well as the tire PSI. And then if we go one more, it puts it into track mode, which we will be racing up the mountain in shortly. We've got this gorgeous touchscreen multimedia system that's easy to use, and it responds really, really quickly. You can actually control it down here as well if you don't want to touch on the actual touchscreen display. Series of controls for the climate control as well, volume for the infotainment. There is an exhaust button to make it quieter or louder. In this case, we've got an aftermarket exhaust, so it doesn't actually do anything. Suspension controls, ESC off, and ESC and traction control off if you want full death mode. We've got contrasted yellow stitching, which looks fantastic in the interior to match these yellow seat belts. These are the optional $5,900 carbon bucket seats, like out of the 918 Spyder. There are standard seats that are obviously a no-cost option. Love the fact that we've got this integrated fire extinguisher. Small little storage spaces here for USB-C charging. This cup holder can actually be taken out and replaced with just a little mini storage unit. We've also got an aftermarket roll cage in the back. You'll notice to save weight, the rear seats have been removed, saving 22 pounds. The carpet itself is actually lighter than the standard 992 to save 2 pounds, and they've saved 10 pounds using lighter weight windshield. Couple creature comforts. If we put it into reverse, We've got an okay backup camera. It's honestly not the best. The graphics are a little bit lackluster, and you can get an optional $3,000 front lift that this car doesn't have. When you activate that lift, it actually does it in conjunction with the GPS. So if every time you come home you've got a steep incline, it actually saves that and remembers it and automatically lifts the car for you. I love this chrono little dial here as well. Pretty tricksy. All right, guys, let's drive this thing. Behind the wheel of the new GT3, let's hit a launch control, shall we? This thing launches at 6,500 RPM. I'm gonna let you listen to it for a bit first. One of the best sounding cars of all time. Oh my God. That naturally aspirated flat six revving to 9,000 RPM with some of the best handling characteristics of any car, bar none. Oh, I am sweating. This car, the 992 GT3 is an absolute monster. For the first time ever, we've got double wishbone front suspension in the front, and it results in a steering feel that is out of this world incredible. Obviously, Porsche is known for its incredible steering, but this takes things to a whole nother level, as does the newly retuned rear wheel steering. But the way this car puts the power down and then turns in is unbelievable. Mid-corner grip too. I love the little shift indicator light on the sides of the tachometer. Such a cool feature. Look, it's not the fastest car in the world in a straight line in terms of numbers, but it feels really, really quick. It's got such peaky torque at the upper RPM ranges is really where the car starts to sing. That 6 to 9K area where you're used to shifting already in a normal car, but it's just got more and more and more room to accelerate. Peak power comes in at 8,500 RPM, so you can really push it all the way up until redline and not have any dip in horsepower. 315 section tires in the back, 255s in the front. The level of mechanical grip in this car is unbelievable. The suspension has adaptive dampers. It's really firm, but it actually does a good job of soaking up bumps and not being too jarring at the same time. But there is no body roll. The words body roll and lag or anything other than the sharpest, quickest response in the world are words that don't exist in the Porsche 992 GT3 language. It is just truly unbelievable. Now, we've got some traffic ahead, so we'll go ahead and put the car into normal mode, shift it back over to automatic for the transmission. That feels a little bit more quiet and reserved in its nature. This isn't really a car that you would want to daily drive. The suspension is really, really firm. There's not a ton of storage space, although it's got a decent sized front trunk, and because we don't have any rear seats, you could put a lot of stuff, if you didn't get this aftermarket roll cage, in the back. So in that case, in that sense, you could daily drive it. The visibility is also really good as well. Despite that massive rear wing, I actually have decent visibility out the rear of the car. Visibility over my shoulders is far superior to any supercar that you'd be used to that is not from Porsche. Traffic's freed up a bit again, so let's go ahead and put it into track mode. I really do like the integrated dial on the steering wheel itself. Now, if you click the button in the middle of that dial, you can actually customize the individual track mode as well as sport mode. So we'll go into sport. You can turn off the auto start stop button, which is awesome. You can activate the exhaust system into loud mode. You can also do the chassis and track mode or not. You can also do the same in sport versus track mode. All right, we are in track mode right now. Let's give it the beans. Oh my gosh. The level of confidence is unreal. It's actually a go-kart for adults. That's the best way I can describe it. It's laser sharp. The response is out of this world. It sounds incredible. It looks drop dead gorgeous. I am in love with the GT3. Holy moly. Woo! So with that, I will leave you with one last launch control to get the juices pumping, and then I'll shut up and let you listen to it without any talking. All right, guys, here we go.